Hi, just as the title said, this video will go through a number of tricky 4-mark questions and answers for Paper 1 A-Level Business. These questions won't include calculation questions, as we have a separate video for that. I will put that in the description box. These are explain type questions. And working through these questions with me will also give you a chance to see what the examiners are looking for, because we'll look at the mark schemes. The trickiest 4 markers will be towards the end of the video, so do stay on till the end. Do grab a pen and a piece of paper and practice these 4 markers with me. Do check out these videos, they may be of importance to you. I will put the link to them in the description box. Our first question: explain how Sony could be disadvantaged by operating in a dynamic market. Now, if you're not sure how to answer the 4-mark questions and get full marks, then do check out this video. The link will be in the description box. This video will be just practicing the 4 markers. So if we go to extract A, it states that Sony launches PlayStation 4, PS4 at a price close to cost. The video games console market is very dynamic. There are 3 main console manufacturers: Nintendo, Sony and Microsoft. A console war started in November 2013 when Sony launched the PS4, followed by 1 week later by the release of Microsoft's Xbox One. Experts consider the PS4 to be the most powerful video games console ever produced. The global markup per console is surprisingly low at 4.2%. Then you've got some information in a table, but some of this information is relevant to another question. You can pause the video if you'd like and attempt this question. So here is the mark scheme. So for the knowledge mark, 1 mark, you need to show an understanding of what is meant by dynamic market, and you could have written something like a market that is subject to rapid or continuous change. For your application marks, so 2 references are required to the case study because you can get up to 2 marks for application. So you could have written about video games consoles are a technological product, or technology advances at a rapid rate. That would have been something that could have been credited for application. Another point could have been competitors such as Nintendo Wii or Microsoft Xbox will be continually launching new products. That could have given you an application mark, and any other relevant application. Analysis now, so that's when you have your chain of analysis. You're using words such as because and leads to and therefore and any other connectives, and you're developing a reason, a cause, some kind of consequence. So you could have written that video games consoles will therefore require large amounts of investment in design. Another analytical point could have been therefore it is easy to lose market share, or you might have had another credible point for analysis. Next question: using extracts B and C, explain one way in which hot chip could change elements of its design mix to reflect eating behaviours at fast food restaurants. Let's go to extract C first. High-frying Norwich entrepreneurs. Lord Somerton and his business partner Toby Marchant opened Hot Chip in Norwich in June 2013. Within a year, it had won Best Chip Shop in Norfolk at the National Chip Week Awards. They now plan to open a hot chip saloon to target the late night economy. Lord Somerton said, "Before we can turn Hot Chip into a national brand, we know we need to have between 3 and 5 successfully trading shops." The entrepreneurs also hope to open a hot chip van. The idea came from visiting Great Yarmouth's chip stalls and the incredible success of chips as a meal in themselves on the continent. Lord Somerton said, "We went around 30 to 40 fish and chip shops in East Anglia and found as much as 50% of their sales were just portions of chips." Hot chip sales data showed that chips and cheesy chips had initially been most popular, but customers were increasingly trying more adventurous toppings and sauces such as hot salt beef, gherkin relish, melting Swiss cheese and mustard mayonnaise. You do need to make use of both extract C and extract B. I put extract C first because that's got the written information that we're going to go through. Extract B, you can pause the video and look over that, but we do need to make reference to both extracts. If you're not sure or you need a refresher on what the design mix is, do check out that video. Give this 4-mark question a go. Don't forget, we're looking for knowledge and understanding, the 1 mark, 2 marks for application, so references to the case study, and 1 mark for analysis. Let's take a look at the mark scheme. For knowledge and understanding, you need to show an understanding of what is meant by elements of the design mix. At least one of the following: aesthetics, function, economic manufacture. Economic manufacture, also known as cost. So that's how you'd get your 1 mark. For application, in the question it states that you need to make reference to extract B and C. So we need to make 1 reference to extract B and 1 reference to extract C. Now you've got 3 examples here in the mark scheme, but you would only need to use 2. So let's look at function first. It states 31% of customers are concerned about healthiness of fast food. So that's from extract B. So you could have made reference to that. Aesthetics, Hot Chip could continue to develop their alternative toppings, such as Swiss cheese gherkin relish, and that's from extract C. Economic manufacture, using cheaper methods to produce chips, so not to produce products, to produce chips, and there's application. Let's look at analysis. 1 mark for your analysis. You could state, remember it's about the reasons, the consequences, and using those connectives. You could state that Hot Chip could manage the ingredients to make the chips healthier. So Hot Chip could change the appearance of the chips with these new toppings to make them more appealing. So Hot Chip could pass on lower costs to customers in lower prices. So these are some consequences that you need to consider in regards to answering a question such as this. On to our next 4-mark question. Using the data from extract A and your knowledge of the product life cycle, explain 1 way in which the marketing of music streaming might be different in 2010 compared to 2019. So what you might want to do here for your application to get those context marks is think about the stages in the product life cycle. So for example, the maturity stage. So look at the maturity stage, identify where that is, identify what year that is and what's happening during that year. So there's a tip. You might want to pause the video now and attempt this question. Don't forget, you need to show your knowledge, application and analysis. Let's take a look at the mark scheme. For knowledge and understanding, you need to show an understanding of the product life cycle. For example, development, introduction, growth, maturity, and decline in terms of the stages. For the application, you could make reference to 2010, and that's the development growth stage. 2019 is the growth maturity stage. Marketing may focus more on raising awareness of the product in 2010. So it's really about looking at the years and the stages and linking it there. Analysis. You might have in 2019, marketing may focus on highlighting the difference between your product and competitors that have arrived since the introduction stage. So this was quite a tricky question, and some students would have struggled with the application part. Our next question is a price skimming question. Explain how Pfizer could benefit from using a price skimming strategy. So let's read extract E. Pfizer merges with Allergan. In 2015, American healthcare business Pfizer announced a merger with Irish Botox maker Allergan plc in a deal worth $160 billion. The merger created the world's largest producer of drugs and shifted Pfizer's headquarters to Ireland, a member of the European Union. Its headquarters are in Dublin. The business also manufactures in Cork and Sligo. This was the biggest ever instance of a US company relocating its headquarters overseas in order to lower its taxes. The deal provided access to about 70 additional worldwide markets for specialist allergen products, such as Botox wrinkle treatment, Alzheimer's drug, Namenda, and dry eye medication, Restasis. It was not known at that time how many jobs would be lost as a result of the merger. For 166-year-old Pfizer, Allergen was the fourth merger or takeover in the previous 15 years. Following the purchases of Warner Lambert Pharmacia and Wyeth, Pfizer made profits of $9.13 billion in 2014. This also caps a record year for global healthcare mergers, taking their total value in 2015 to more than $600 billion. So give this question a go. Explain how Pfizer could benefit from using a price skimming strategy. Pause the video if you need to. Let's take a look at the mark scheme. For knowledge and understanding, you might have included the definition of price skimming or shown some understanding. So you could have defined price skimming as setting a high price at the launch of a product to take advantage of those wanting to be the first people to purchase. For application, remember you need two references to the case study, such as Pfizer sells healthcare products. Customers will be prepared to pay a high price for new treatments in a new market. Pfizer sells some products that have a cosmetic element. And for your analysis, your development of the reason, the cause, the consequence, price skimming will allow Pfizer to recover the relatively high research and development costs to enable a profit. Our next question, and this one is a tricky one. Explain one way the Indian government might use legislation to protect the Indian ride-sharing market from non-Indian businesses. 4 marks. So this is our very tricky 4-mark question. Ride-sharing businesses in India. Ola is an Indian ride-sharing business. Its main competitor is American-owned Uber. Ola's strength is local knowledge. It has always accepted cash payments, while it took Uber nearly 2 years to do the same. Ola's app also supports 9 regional languages for drivers, which is important as only 10% of Indians speak English. Ola offers 3 different services: premium, low cost, and carpooling. Ola's auto rickshaws, which have their own safety standards, are successful in smaller cities where distances are shorter. After its exit from China, Uber said it would divert a significant portion of its planned $1 billion marketing budget to India. This led to calls from Indian businesses for government laws to limit investment by non-Indian businesses into the market. In one of Uber's other markets, the USA, a former Uber engineer alleged sexual harassment by her manager, and one of the founders of Uber was caught swearing at an Uber driver. Other questions about Uber's business practices have been raised. Trade unions have requested drivers receive basic rights such as a living wage and unemployment insurance. Uber classifies its drivers as independent contractors, and so they are not eligible for benefits such as overtime and health insurance. Uber's pricing structure has also been criticized. After allegations, it routinely overcharges customers. It was recently sued for not providing enough vehicles accessible to wheelchair users. You can pause the video and give this tricky question a go. Let's take a look at the mark scheme. So for knowledge and understanding, you might have defined protectionism, means policies used by government to protect domestic businesses by making foreign-owned products less attractive, or legislation, which is a collective name for laws and regulations used by governments to restrict certain activities. Or it could be government legislation as a protectionist measure is when it's framed in such a way that can give an advantage to a domestic business. Now, for application, you may have included points such as this. There were calls to limit the level of foreign investment by foreign multinationals into Indian markets, and safety rules specific to the Indian market, example those governing auto rickshaws. So those were some application points that you might have included. Analysis looking at the consequences. Ride sharing cannot be protected by tariffs or quotas, as it is not a traded product, so legislation is a potential option if the Indian government wanted to protect Ola and similar businesses. Did you find that question tricky? Did you find any of the questions tricky? Do let me know in the comments. Thank you very much for watching. The next two videos that will appear on the screen are what YouTube thinks you should watch next.